Living Seed Media brings to you God's Word, which is His comprehensive equipment for changing lives. May the Lord impact your heart as you encounter His Word. For further inquiry or counsel, contact Peace House, P.O. Box 971, Boko, Benue State, Nigeria. Telephone numbers 0703 0363659, 0703 7681198. Email address lsmedia@livingseed.org, or visit our website at www.livingseed.org. Let us sit back and listen as the servant of God brings forth the word of life.
It's a privilege to be here to deliver this seminar, and I wish to give thanks to God and appreciate PHATI for even asking me to do this. The topic that I've been given is there on the first slide: dynamic change in economic power and authority in agriculture, the practical and functional approach by the new creation man. I think that's the way I tried to modify the topic, even though the way it appears here is a little, he said economic power. That's on page 21 of the brochure that we are giving. Economic power and authority in agriculture can experience a dynamic change, the practical and functional approach by the new creation man. I will first of all spend some minutes speaking about this particular topic. The way I interpreted it, there are some keywords there that we need to, please still slide one, please. There are some key issues that we need to define, terminologies. The first one that struck me was the matter of dynamic change. A change that can be self-sustaining, one that can start and with very little or no effort propagate itself in achieving the purpose. So how do we do this in the field of agriculture? What is that practical functional approach for a sustainable approach? And let me illustrate what it means. When in the medical sector they talk of an outbreak of diseases, all that happens is that there will be a causal agent, there will be a favorable environment, and there will be a substrate or a subject that it can act upon. Once those three are present, you don't need much effort for that disease to propagate itself. When we all experienced the lockdown of COVID-19, nobody was pushing anything. In fact, we had to be pushing against it. So the type of topic that came to me, the type of strategy that came to my mind are strategies that once they are put in place, they will have the capacity to continue to propagate and push forward. Not the one that will need so much support either from government or NGO, and you will push for a whole year. You will not even, after 2 or 3 years, you will review it. It is as if you are back to square one. So what I'm going to be talking about, they will look very simple. They will look very obvious, but they have the capacity for massive adoption. They have the capacity of being sustained even in spite of all manner of deficiencies in our system. And at the end of the day, both at the micro level and at the macro level, that's at the individual level and the general level of the whole populace, we eventually be better for it. So like our slogan is here, don't let us despise something because it looks small. We have tried so many big things. They are wonderful, but this is where it still got us to. The second stage, you can change that, is that I want to talk about the current state of our food production in Nigeria. In spite of all the efforts that we have made over the years. And there is a quote on page 21 here that I will quickly read out. This is from the what we call Country Food and Agriculture Delivery Compact. It is actually a compact. It is a peer-reviewed document among African nations from virtually all the regions. You prepare the situation of food in your country, what you are planning to do, how far you have gone, and you are encouraged to be as honest as possible with yourself. So if there is a document that paints the correct situation of what is on ground, and also written by the federal government, where you don't have any reason to tell lies, because other people will come and tell you what challenges they are facing, and you will encourage one another. So it's a peer review document. And let me just read part of the extract, as I have it on page 1. It says, despite the economic dominance of the oil industry in Nigeria, agriculture remains the foundation of the Nigerian economy. More than 1/3 of the population depend on the agricultural sector for employment. However, productions are falling in the past 20 years, with the value added per capita rising less than 1% annually. So every one of our efforts in the past 20 years, the outcome and the conclusion is that production levels are falling. It's as if we are not making sufficient progress, and that's why whatever you are feeling in the market now, this is part of the reason, especially as pertain to food affordability. There have also been significant losses in Nigeria's export power of key commodities such as groundnut, palm oil, cocoa, and cotton, attributable to several reasons. Domestic food crop productions are not kept pace with the population growth, and this has resulted in rising food imports and declining national food sufficiency. This is a report from the Federal Ministry of Agri, presented at the level of the African Regional Forum. And you know that this thing they are talking about is true, and we can even feel the impact. While Nigeria is the world's largest producer of cassava, yam, and cowpea, it has been a food deficit nation and a net importer of food and a major importer of wheat, rice, sugar, and fish. The importation of these 4 commodities amounted to over 1 trillion naira in foreign exchange every year from 2005 till date. That was the 2023, this 2023 document. And I don't think there has been any notable improvement. So we see Nigeria's food imports growing at an unsustainable rate of 11% per annum. This is the federal government talking to you. Yet relying on the importation of expensive food from global market fuels domestic inflation. These are some of the reasons behind our fall in the fall in the value of our naira. The more you are dependent on other nations for things like this, we are not yet talking of manufacturing area where they will need to bring some raw materials and machinery, even food for us to eat, things that we should be able to prepare and produce here. This is the situation. So in this context, Nigeria is essentially importing what it can produce domestically. That's the situation with us. Even rice. Even though we say we banned it, for sometimes I've not had the opportunity to travel by public transport. But when I did this last one, even the vehicle I entered, the whole boot was already loaded with smuggled rice. Even before you talk of the load of the passengers. You know, those ones, they will just tie things, bus, whether it's China or so. And I just saw huge quantity of, we are close to the border where people smuggle rice. And they are bringing it here. Rice. Then I was asking the people that are the owner of the, I said, what happened to Igbimo rice? I used to hear of Igbimo rice. Very sweet and wonderful. That you people had to be coming to carry smuggled rice from Kwara to Ondo State here. So this is what the situation is. And I went on to trace the past efforts of the various governments and organizations at ensuring that we have food security. A quick flashback to the early 70s, to mid 70s. You remember the Operation Feed the Nation, and you remember the Green Revolution of Shagari period also. I participated actively in also the Agric transformation agenda of Jonathan. I don't know what my last namesake called his own, but everyone tried one thing or the other. I can't remember. Everyone tried one thing or the other, but yet we are still here. So I just think that we have every reason to look outside the box. They did all that needed to be done. The funding was quite okay and adequate while I was in office. I know that funding was not our problem. While Additional was our minister, we had sufficient funding, timely funding, good good strategy. We gave things to people at great subsidy, some free. We created agro whatever zones and so on and so forth, and yet we could not meet up with making food affordable to Nigerians. So I am suggesting here in my paper, the next slide please. Okay, one of the other things I discuss is that looking at that topic, I am supposed to be talking to people who are new creation men. I am not talking to people who are my fellow civil servants who want to design way to make people not to feel as hungry as they have been feeling. And I want to see the order of our own focus, which is the way I have ordered my presentation here. I am talking to a people whose number one objective in the agricultural sector is to use that sector as a platform to win souls for Christ. I hope I'm not assuming too much. I don't assume that our major aim here is first and foremost to get people's stomach filled. We are talking about the strategy in agricultural sector that will be able to open the community for us, open the citizens for us to minister Christ to them. That's the first one. And the second one I say is to establish and promote righteousness in the agricultural sector. We are not leaving out the general one also of contributing towards national food security, but that's not the first one. So the strategy I will be suggesting here may not look as if the first thing they want to address is number 3 and 4, providing avenue for personal, financial, and material blessings. And yet, those things also will come in, but they are not the primary focus. So you will not see me recommending here large-scale farming, because I am trying to look outside the box. This box is wonderful, but it has not fully solved our problem. So we have every reason, whether we can peep outside the box and see few things that we can develop. One of the challenges of our former, next slide please, our former strategies, which are very, very big, commercialization of farming, supply of input, land sectors, and so on and so forth. One of the challenges is that we did not make attempt to bring production as close as possible to the consumer. So if you are producing in one region, let's take tomato for instance, you produce it in the Sokoto Rima area, and you want to bring it to Ikeja for people to consume. That's where your major consumers are. Already you have added, simple economics says you have added a cost component that didn't add any value, so to say, nutrition-wise, quality and quantity. The tomato, if you are lucky, the way you lifted it from Sokoto Rima, it will not even be as good as what you started with by the time you get to Ikeja. So it has even reduced in value, but it has increased in cost because of that cost of production. And especially when the things that fuels our transportation, petroleum, became deregularized. So the fuel that you buy 160, we are talking of some 1,000 now. And that one has skyrocketed even the transportation cost. And then when you couple this with all manner of taxes, those trucks will pay along the road. When they get to the ultimate consumer, the price become unaffordable. Even if it is fairly affordable where it was brought from Sokoto Rima area. So this strategy that I'm talking about is a strategy that wants to, as much as possible, make us begin to bring production very close to the consumer. And one advantage we will have is that when you bring production close to the consumer, we are able to cut off that substantial component of transportation cost. That's one advantage. Even though that's not the only advantage. So I'm recommending here 3 simple strategy. The first one is homestead-based gardening. And you will see the reason why I am for this simple one. When you remember what I said my objective is, my first objective in the agriculture as a new creation man is first of all to have an avenue to project Christ to people. So the second strategy is a community-based gardening. And all these things I grew up seeing community-based gardening. I know that my mother and some of the women in the compound, they will just have a small garden where they plant little things like onion and so on and so forth, where they can just, in the evening, everybody will have his own clay pot, where they fetch water from the well and put, and then they go there and water it, and from there they get some things for their homes. And it makes a difference. Apart from the quality that will come in, it is as if they are even getting it free because they are not even thinking of the opportunity cost of their time. And it also provides an avenue for interaction within the community. So I am thinking we should bring back this, and this community-based gardening can become a thing that we can recommend in reaching out to our host community. We have all the things we have tried here, things we have researched on, quality seeds that we have been able to acquire and we have tried, even methodologies. We can begin to encourage small communities in our areas by getting them together, establish a community-based gardening. And I saw this one very popular in America, in US. Every community, they will have a community land. That's the area where development has not reached. They will prepare it and partition it, and everybody will come and pay a token if you are interested. People go there and prepare their own little portions where they plant what they desire, usually vegetables, because you can't work there for more than 7 or how many months? 7 months. The thing will go back to the community. So you rent it 7 months. And one of the essential gain there is that it helps to develop community interaction, apart from producing food for their own personal gain. And then at the gate there, they set up a small kiosk where people can buy the excess of what those people are producing, fresh maize, vegetable, cabbage, and all the rest. We can go into this. One, it gives us some advantages. One of them is that people will have access to organic materials that doesn't need to travel for 3 days before it reaches their table. It will be cheap if they have to sell it to their neighbor. And if it is an home gardening that you base your own on, when you have little excess, you can extend it to your neighbor either as sales or as a gift. And that opens window and opportunity for interaction. 3 days ago, a pastor was sharing with me. He has large orange tree, about 3 orange trees in his compound. And he decided to pluck and share with his neighbors. And these are all hijab-wearing neighbors. And you know, sometimes the way those people frighten you when you want to preach to them. Not that they will say, don't preach, but you just see them on hijab and assume this one will be very difficult to preach to. But he said after doing that, one of them came and told the wife, anytime you have program in the church, invite me. If it's a special program, I will come. The man said he was so surprised that he wouldn't have had any confidence to say, I'm organized, and he's a minister of the gospel. I'm organizing a special program in the church. Madam, can you come? But he felt that this door is open simply because he has little home garden where he has been able to extend. So the next slide, please. So after the recommended, I'm just showing what a home garden looks like. You know, sometimes when you have worked and you are tired, you can just go into your garden and, you know, look around. It can be very refreshing. You can imagine the oxygen content of that compound with all those crops and so on. And then the access you have to various type of fruits. So the next one, please. Yes, this is a vegetable. And if you have been able to zoom this, you will see that this one is prepared under drip irrigation. It has been demonstrated here before. And I think I saw it in PHATI the other time we came. Very easy. The pipe you are seeing, we just drop the water in droplets, controlled droplets at the base of your plant. And so if you have a lot of resources, you can go into this and just produce fruits, vegetables especially for your own consumption and also to share with neighbors, creating avenue for interaction. If you need to even make money, nothing stops you from even making extra revenue from there if you desire to do so. But as we said, as a focus of having access to interacting with your neighbor, we are recommending this homestead gardening. When it is done at the community level also, it is a way to reach down to the grassroots, especially those who are our politicians. And this one, we need to work on it quickly. Money will start coming to the local government as they send allocation to them directly. I think they want to start that this year. And most of the people on ground actually don't have any plan because they were elected not expecting to do anything. So all the people you will call first ladies now at the local government level, about 700 and something of them, they are people that have no plan. They didn't come to office with any plan. Oh, how wonderful when we can recommend this for them to start from simple ways like this. Can you acquire a small place, dig a borehole for the community, let them make community gardening. From there they begin to socialize. Can churches do the same thing and use it as an opportunity to reach out to people the message of Christ? These are some of the deliverables, and what we are talking about is very, very easy to adopt. The possibility of mass adoption is very high. And when it is adopted, you don't even need too much force to push it through. It will continue. You know, the way young people say, they will say it has gone viral. It will go viral. Very, very easy. So next slide, just to see some of the things that can come. Next slide, please. Okay. Okay, this is another type, another one. You say you can make a very beautiful garden around the house. Yes, the next one. Something as simple as this can be all that you need. So it doesn't have to be drip irrigation. If you have to do something that is no more than this carpet area, this one will be okay for you. And a poor man should be able to, even a poor man say, this one is too costly for me, but it's very good. Let's see the next one. You can look for a plastic bucket. Or even if you have 2 buckets in your bathroom, you can bring one out to the garden and fetch water from your well and do it. Don't let us underestimate the power of a thing like this when hundreds of thousands of people adopt simple policy like this. It will add to what is on ground. It will reduce what I call demand pressure of such particular crops on the open market. And when the demand pressure is reduced, definitely price drops, even if supply remains stagnant. That's just the simple economic theory behind it. So how can we come in? Next slide. How can we come in as individual? Next one, please. Next one. These are just saying the same thing. Aha. You see some of those beautiful tomato and leaves you can just pluck from your garden. What are the deliverables? I hope it will be a little larger. One of it is that this is a way, an avenue to reaching out to people. I think PHATI can use this also to reach out to the community. I was asking questions that say, how many of the graduates are from this host community? Usually host community are not always very eager to adopt whatever you do to them. So it's not surprising if I don't get 10% of the participants coming from here at this stage. But now that it's time for us to begin to reach out to the communities around us, to people from these different zones, for them to begin to reach out, can we start to promote things like this? And it is recommended because it is cheap to establish. It has capacity to be self-sustaining. I want to appreciate what government is doing. This current government is bringing 2,000 tractors this year. I think they have received well over 200. They want to bring 10 combined harvesters. They want to bring 12 what we call mobile workshop, which contains everything that you can see in a workshop, but it's on the wheel. You can, if you have problem 100 kilometers away, they just kick and start and go there. Right deep inside the bush, there is nothing you want that is not there. They are bringing all manner of equipment. They are even promising to move production, especially of tomato, down to southwest and southeast. Those are good ones. But beyond that, I am submitting to us that the new creation man has the duty to promote these simple strategies. And I assure you they are capable of helping us to achieve our purpose at the micro level, we as individuals who want Christ to be made known, building a platform for us to interact and share Christ with people. And secondly, even at the macro level, they are capable of bringing down food prices, especially when we reach the stage of mass adoption, which we can easily reach because of the simplicity of this system. So what can we do? What do we do? And when do we start doing it? Yes, next slide. So what should we arise from here to do? Our brethren from, maybe let me start with PHATI. I think PHATI has a responsibility of establishing demonstration plots where people will see possibilities of what we are talking about with facts and figures. Maybe I'm sure you have been doing things like this, how you have been getting some of the things, a majority of your vegetable. I don't expect that you go to the market to add to the demand pressure. I know most of it will come from here. Yes. Why wouldn't our zonal people from the various fields, why wouldn't they practice this? Let them see something that they can copy from here. And, be in the forefront of promoting it for people to go into it. Let's promote it. Then for us that are coming from the zone and from various places, we can get back home and start it at our own micro level. Even if you can't convince people to do it, I tell you, if you see the number of people that visit my compound because they want to come and see the garden. And when I, extend produce from the garden to them, sometimes I'm just taking my own, this one we used to, what do we call it now? When you are exercising, workout. You see people stopping me to say thank you. Even people that I actually don't know their wife, I sent it because I knew the husband. But the husband discussed with you, see what Baba Buhari brought here. And they stopped me to give thanks and all the rest. Some begin to ask questions and we fall into discussion. This is an avenue. I must confess I've not started harvesting the opportunity yet, but I intend to. That as people say, thank you for coming to give that, it becomes an opportunity. Come and see my garden. And when you come, we have opportunity to talk together. So, PHATI, please promote this. Set up a demonstration spot that both the rich and the not so rich and even the poor can adopt. And for us also, it's not a skyrocket, I mean, what do they call it now? It's not a very complicated thing to do. You can get back home even after this meeting and start a small vegetable garden around you. You are helping us to reduce demand pressure of whatever you plant in your garden. And I want to tell you, it's a wonderful exercise. It helps you to keep fit. It brings good produce also to your table. Organic, pure, uncontaminated. And it is easy and cheap to adopt. So everyone here can arise to go and do something. And then don't let us forget that what is at the back of our mind, beyond filling our stomachs and our neighbors' stomachs, is to be able to have a platform where we will be able to interact with people and preach Christ to them. I will rest my presentation here. I want to appreciate you for listening. Thank you very much.